Well, they can't let the same thing that happened in Game 1 picks and bans happen in Game 2 picks and bans here, where I think 4 mages got banned out in that second ban phase, and that's when they were sort of limited to this Discordia. And Discordia is strong, don't get me wrong, but she's definitely kind of a feels god, I would say. There's like some rhythm there to landing the strife, to timing the erratic behavior correctly. The apple is not the easiest thing in the world. It can be kind of slow moving. So if maybe you're not 100% ready, you can maybe struggle a bit.
I feel like mid lane is the most rhythm lane there is, outside of maybe Hunter, because of all the auto attacks you have to throw. But you get so many auto attacks that, you know, it's like you get to shoot 10 times, and as long as 5 of them connect, then you're good. Mage, you get 1 shot at your ability for the next 7 seconds, and it has to land, or else you're going to lose the team fight. And so I think that getting in a rhythm with your characters and being so comfortable with them is such a big part of playing the role.
And you're the mage, and you can tell me better than this. I would rather my mage take that first shot than a 3-second one they lined up, right, if they're hesitating too much. That first one, man, in rhythm, and nail it every time, we're going to win.
Definitely. I mean, at a competitive level, you definitely go through the moment of, okay, well, I can't miss anymore. And so I have to make sure I'm hitting everything. And you become very meticulous, and it slows you down a lot.
Yes.
And that was definitely a lot of criticism that I got early and often throughout my career is if I'm calling a CC, I need the ult to have been on the way. And if it's late and when we miss it because of that, I'm going to be really upset with you. But if you miss because you were just trying to trust me and I missed my CC or they use their relics, that's fine. You just have to, the ball has to be in the air at the right time.
That's going to be the focus here for Papis this time. They've already made the adjustment. Agni picked early on in this draft for them to be paired with the Chang'e Serqet. That's a lot of team fighting presence. The Chang'e with the waxing moon and the heals, Agni with those bombs, and Serqet to disrupt. This is strong already from Papis.
But they go back to the Bakasura, do Optimus Gang. I really thought this Erlang Shen was going to be going towards GetFisher in the jungle, but it looks like that's going to be for Sibi in the solo lane. Could also theoretically be in the support role, I think, but I'm really leaning more towards the solo. With having Julio played at a decent amount for the Papis and seeing some success there, teams will often look at what you like to do and then try and take it from you and use it for their own, and that's why I'm thinking that Erlang's in solo.
They had to have thought this Bakasura would get banned, because if you just have Erlang in this top half and you don't pick the Bakasura, there's no way they ban junglers, right? They think Erlang goes there, and maybe you kind of open up the door for them to waste some bans, but now they get rid of some of that mystery, perhaps. Well, they're going to pair it up with the Soul, though, on the back end and try and make up for it. So right now, a lot of basic attacks, a lot of auto attack focus here, but a lot of damage.
I like the Soul, but I am worried about the overall auto attack damage. Kuzenbo's a perfect pickup here for the Papis because he's great at shutting down auto attackers and just making sure that they don't get to do anything in these team fights. I completely agree with you. I think that Bakasura pick really is too early from Optimus Gang. You can use that as kind of a bait. Pick your Soul there. I mean, it's not like Jing has any threat of going mid lane, and Soul is a heavily prioritized pick in the European minor league anyways. I think that does end up hurting Optimus Gang in this draft.
Like you said, that Kuzenbo should be able to do quite a bit of work in this draft, paired up with the ROM. I talked a little bit how they have some nice control tools early on. Well, those ROM auto attacks follow-up feels pretty good. But now the Khepri's going to come out, and this does kind of give some license for Bakasura, even the Erlang Shen, to go really heavy in the backline, right, with that Scarab's Blessing.
He does, but at the same time, I think Kuzenbo is excellent at zoning away the Khepri, and even if your teammates are killing someone else, you say you're trying to kill this Jing, and then Kuzenbo's job is just to watery grave away the Khepri and keep him from using Scarab's Blessing. I think this draft for Papis looks much better. This Chang'e pick is where I'm really sending my focus. If Julio's able to stay safe in that lane, able to join these team fights later on, then I think Papis have this one.
That's right. Doesn't it? It almost feels like a silence because you're getting knocked up so much you can't even cast,
it's ridiculous.
It's so annoying. So yeah, that could potentially be a problem for this Khepri. We'll certainly see Game 2, Papis and Optimus Gang about to get underway. If Optimus Gang can grab this win, they will close this set out right here and right now.
Thanks a lot, Finch. Thanks a lot, Ryan. Totally joining me on the broadcast one more time. Doug on the ones and twos. And watching the Papis versus Optimus Gang in game number 1, it was all Optimus Gang. There was a moment there where the Papis kind of chimed in, but miserable decision-making, and I don't mince my words. That was terrible decision-making that ultimately lost them the game.
Sure, at the very end of it. Yeah. And they got punished at the beginning where they were caught with their pants down. This time, Dracomarino kind of scouting. What's happening? Where is Optimus Gang going? Don't want to get caught for a wild ride that they didn't want to get on from the beginning. But the fans at home giving Papis still more credit than the last game, because Optimus Gang, I believe, had 55% of the fans vote, whereas now only 51% for Optimus Gang.
Well, trust me, Toli. I know firsthand the Papis fans are very, very behind their team. The Papis fan base has always been one of the more loyal fan bases in Smite game. Interesting start here. Both duo lanes looking for, well, Papis looking for a true proxy farm. Optimus Gang just walking all the way up to the top and going to look for the subsequent invade on both sides of the map.
Getting the red buff stripped away from Optimus Gang is a good way to really keep the soul in check. Warchi playing his signature Agni. Going to be rushing that Book of Thoth, whereas FaraKrik wanting to get off some basic attack damage with the Hunter's Blessing. Don't really fault either decision-making, and that's why Soul is just so popular, I think, for a lot of players, is the fact that you can have so many different styles with this pick.
I like what happened for the Papis more so than Optimus Gang, in all honesty. The Papis pick up both red buffs and still have their purple buff to go to. OG will look for their enemy purple buff here, but getting both red buffs, I think, is a bigger boon than getting both purple buffs. Experience all even, of course. Fusify left by himself here. Chang'e going to roll out on top with a nice dash and a knocked up. We'll keep him in safe check. Dracomarino takes some tower shots, and Kespainify and Fusify, the two long-time duo laners, keep themselves composed.
Chang'e avoids the persistent gust from bringing him inside the tower, making sure that as soon as he realizes that, he moves backwards instead of sideways. Unfortunately for Dracomarino, taking that tower shot. Thought he was going to take a second one, which is why he popped that shell. He could have been fine there, but early rotation on the left-hand side from GetFisher wanted to secure this purple buff, or at least make sure that Papis aren't going to look for the invade, seeing how low Fusify is.
Meanwhile, low is how GetFisher is doing in the experience charge, getting invaded by WorstTurttle for the second time this game. On the right side with those experience camps, nice and easy. So a nice look already for the Papis. Great start.
Julio not playing his signature tier Hercules with the Mage's Blessing, playing a Chang'e with the Guardian's Blessing instead, which is kind of funny seeing how Mage's Blessing on this pick would actually be pretty solid, seeing how short of a cooldown she has.
Yeah, going into the Guardian's Blessing. Not always my favorite look in that solo lane, but I understand why players do it. They're kind of relinquishing lane control. When you're looking at an Erlang Shen across the way, I probably don't want to fight that fight either.
And once you evolve that item, you're getting, what, 48 gold extra per minute. So all the minions you sacrificed in the first couple of minutes is going to pay off for itself after the 15 to 20 minute mark.
Trouble for the Papis. They get their invade off, but now surrounded by enemy jerseys. Chang'e knocked up and likely to be first blooded, but he joins his teammates in the mid lane. Here comes GetFisher, not able to catch up, taunted away, and the Papis do a fantastic job of defending their hunter. Beautiful team play from the Spanish guys.
GetFisher using that beads to avoid the Sumo Slam and the Cobra's Kiss. Beautifully timed from him because he jumped in. He should have been dead to rights as a Bakasura in that early game, but still able to make it happen when it counts. That was a nice little stun from Warchi also to prevent any sort of follow-up. Whenever you can get a 3-man stun on an Agni, it feels good, but not being level 5, no bombs to follow up quite yet.
Yeah, I used to call this guy Magikarp to Gyarados, but I think Agni's early game is certainly a much different story than has been in the past. Able to dance, but like you said, not having access to those ultimates is certainly a really big deal. So early game, I think the Papis kind of led the charge. All tied up, though, as Optimus Gang have been able to kind of reconvene. No big lead for OG like they had in game 1.
Definitely no lead quite yet, considering that that first game was all about invading the speed buff, and Papis making those necessary adjustments in game number 2, putting themselves in an even playing ground where it's actually fair, because they were making huge comebacks in that first game, making sure that they were still relevant in the late game. We saw some executes coming out of WorstTurttle on the Ao Kuang, now piloting their Serqet in game number 2.
So recent changes here coming into it. Brief reprise from the action as we'll get into it in a moment. But watching these two guys go head-to-head, what's different in game number 2 than game number 1?
I think the fact that they didn't get invaded on. That's as simple as that. Yeah. And no invades of the buffs immediately after. Being able to double red buff start off from Papis is putting them in an interesting predicament where their dual lane has more pressure. They're able to just keep OGG under their tower, but Sibi playing a little bit aggressive in the solo lane as opposed to having the Kumbhakarna in game number 1. He's now piloting this warrior aggro style Erlang Shen, looking to give Julio a run for his money.
WorstTurttle and Dracomarino find themselves on the right side of the map. Gonna blink on top of GetFisher. He uses the ultimate in return. WorstTurttle taking a ton of damage, but there's the knockup. Khepri shows up, saves the life of the jungler for now, but Fisher sticks around. Jump away, good job.
He really wanted that revive bubble to get more health than 10% and really min-maxing his DPS as GetFisher. He's now going to be able to heal up, but not finding the kill, not the end of the world. It delays some of the farming time coming from GetFisher.
Optimus Gang now trying to push back forward. Again, a denied first blood. That's the second time the Papis almost had it. Optimus Gang almost had the first blood before, and Chang'e was defended very well by the Papis.
Sibi without too much mana in this solo lane. This is the issue with how he has been playing this aggressive without Berserker Shield, not having that kind of sustain. It's going to hurt you. Whereas Julio has had his blue buff for quite some time, and he's probably going to be the lane bully once that Breastplate of Valor gets completed. Already with 10% of the Shoes of Focus, will upgrade himself to about 30% after that item is done. And Julio does never have to back to base with the Meditation and his Bunny passive.
Yeah, never really going to have to return there. WorstTurttle now back him to base in the middle lane, just right in front of everybody. So that information will be communicated. Optimus Gang could theoretically push up in their lanes if they had any pressure, but they don't seem to have that. So instead, just going to be a trip to the oracles for the mid lane. And that's about it. Julio trying to fight against his solo Erlang Shen. And kind of losing it right now. Big damage coming out from Sibi. He's going to heal up. And Chang'e will heal up after.
It's all about abusing the power spikes at the end of the day, and this is going to be a Berserker Shield advantage for now, up until Julio completes the Breastplate of Valor. Just finishes off the Tier 2 Silver Breastplate, having about 35 physical protections. It's good to survive for the moment, as Dracomarino, the support, randomly showing up in the solo lane. Yeah, I think Julio just needs to kind of patiently wait until Tier 3 Breastplate.
Here comes Baka one more time. The ultimate comes out because, again, WorstTurttle finds himself on the enemy experience camps. Trying to invade a Bakasura. That's kind of the opposite of how things are supposed to go. But he does well. WorstTurttle gets chased out for the first time. Now Warchi in trouble. Has the dash available, and that will alleviate said trouble. WorstTurtle misses both of his taunts, but finds the blink and the ultimate. Sibi now losing HP. Julio can't catch up, and that be that.
That turtle was so important for him to get into max distance. If that was interrupted even halfway, there's going to be follow-up from Julio. WorstTurtle really trying to force anything, anywhere that he can. Warchi going to receive the shell from Dracomarino.
Right side, Fisher gets ulted, uses beads to get out of it. Doesn't have an ult himself, but Sibi's able to turn it around. WorstTurtle goes down. First blood for Optimus Gang, and the follow-up, double un for the solo Erlang Shen. Sibi getting the game off hot.
Yet again, Papis trying to force too much now. They didn't have the last breath. That was used on trying to kill Sibi about 15 seconds ago. Julio did have his Wax and Moon, sure, but if you're not going to have your jungler's ultimate, then that invade just becomes so much lackluster, especially without the Breastplate of Valor. Papis had no business invading that blue buff.
Yeah, that's really what I've seen so far, is that WorstTurtle has been successful in that experience camp, and then finally GetFisher chases him out, but they still decide they can go for that invade.
Yeah.
You already chased down once. Why knock again?
Yeah, I'm not really too sure. Maybe they thought it was only going to be Sibi, but then at the end of the day, GetFisher was there alongside Fusify, and both of these supports are making these solo lane appearances at perfect timings, and Fusify more so, now playing his more traditional style of the Khepri.
Which, by the way, I love that the Khepri was a last selection here. I think that really goes to show, again, I was talking about Optimus Gang, I was talking about Draco just getting it. Optimus Gang kind of gets it here, where WorstTurttle played the Execute God beforehand, so you don't want to pick the Khepri, understanding that that's part of his wheelhouse. Once it's last selection, because there is ambiguity, that Serqet could have been tossed over to support and given you a Thanatos or an Ao Kuang. Once everything's on the table, then you can go into Khepri and make sure that Ultimate's going to be useful. And like the guy said on the desk, you're playing Baka and Erlang Shen. These are guys I want a Khepri ult for.
And even if you could execute through the bubble, the Scarab's Blessing, I still think Khepri's a fine pick up against executes, because you're looking at the Rising Dawn, which mitigates a lot of damage to even prevent anyone from getting in that execute threshold. And you have a lot of peel, a lot of safe peel, right? Like, because you have your root from a distance that doesn't put you out of position, and then you have a nice little engage tool, or whether you want to use that defensively to peel in the background.
Yeah, the Rising Dawn here for Fusify, that is going to be a big part of it. Damage mitigation is huge. It's not protections, it's damage mitigation. So against characters like Bakasura, or in this case the Serqet, that true damage actually gets mitigated from Fusify. So
Also,
I'm with you. A nice pick.
Yeah, also having that offensive protection reduction. Dracomarino.
I like that stun. It was the whole range of the circle,
Yeah.
and it was the 2 stun, which is harder. WorstTurttle just
Ouch.
gets surrounded. And he certainly does not look like the best tortoise there. GetFisher with kill number 3.
Definitely not, as he gets caught out of position, having last breath, but didn't have time to really even use that one. Watery Grave under the tier 1 tower.
Oh,
Sibi
beautiful.
using that tower perfectly.
Fusify, again, just playing real strong. This Optimus Gang team is fun to watch. Sibi gets out of there thanks to a turtle shell. And Julio going to get jumped on. The dance is down. But a nice root again from Fusify. The support players in this matchup are really strong. I generally focus on other players on Optimus Gang. I view this as an offensive team, but Fusify really playing his role today.
Yeah, Fusify has made it happen. FaraKrik even showing his best support style by using that defensive supernova, keeping everybody alive from his team. And this is the way Optimus Gang have been playing consistently, is utilizing each other very well, considering that they're not playing with their natural jungler, Johnny. This time it's GetFisher, that had I would say, a pretty decent game in game number 1. He wasn't the playmaker, but he was certainly there where it mattered.
Yeah, I mean, GetFisher brought the early game for sure. Sibi dancing with WorstTurttle here. Johnny has been such a focal point for Optimus Gang, and this is an interesting interlude. Because I said on Twitter that I didn't really think that they would have much success without Johnny. You know, FaraKrik was kind of like, don't say that. And I was like, I don't know. The team really plays through Johnny. It reminded me of old Panthera, where you had adapting just playing at a different level, and the rest of the team kind of played through adapting. That's what I saw Optimus Gang as. But here, you kind of downgrade your jungler, and FaraKrik, Kespainify, Sibi, everybody's stepping up. And realistically, what I think it is, Toli, I think this is how these guys always play. It just so happens that Johnny's 6-0 at the same time. And
It's true.
And that's kind of, it's not so much Optimus Gang playing through their jungler. It's just, he's just always dunking the ball. So why take it from him?
It's true. And when Optimus Gang have that kind of early momentum, they can look for objectives like this.
Hey, thanks,
Starting the
Warchi.
Pyromancer instead of the Gold Fury. Warchi forced the beats away. GetFisher
Oh.
not having eyes in the back of his head. And Optimus Gang might drop this objective.
Oh, they pick it up. Nice help from the Papis. 2 bombs and a Julio shake.
I think it was even 3
The third bomb as
potentially.
well? Yeah.
I think so. And now Papis are going to go for the goal here with how much of a distraction there was on the right side of the map.
WorstTurtle's going to kill Kespainify here. This is a death. Oh, but guess what? Help. Oh, the Khepri.
Oh, but the airstrike is going to get him out. No, WorstTurtle still wants it. Gets it with the second hit
That was
of
hot.
the Cobra's Kiss. Cool guy zigzags away into safety.
That's a highlight. Not for a player, just cool smite. The Khepri ult just barely keeps him in doesn't help. Oh, man, everything was cool there. Sibi trying to escape 3 different players. Papis with a great opportunity here. And Dracomarino will make sure the solo laner falls down. Julio under the tower takes care of FaraKrik. Nice ultimate and a meditation saves him for the moment. And the super slam from Draco. Takes out one. Chang'e from a distance.
Gets off that third strike. Gets the first and the third. Getting lethal onto GetFisher. And just like that, 3 members fall from Optimus Gang. Papis were flirting with the Gold Fury earlier, but now have a huge power play to confirm it.
Yeah, this is no defense gold for the Papis. Very nice play. Look at that experience chart right there, just jutting up from the bottom. Gold going to do something similar as well as the objective falls. WorstTurttle again. So for all the right things that we've seen the Papis do, the repeated poor invades from WorstTurttle could be their downfall.
It's risky, the way he's positioning himself. He doesn't have beats. This is a blink Serqet. Now that he's level 12, he can pick up that secondary relic, but you got to be calculating about all your invades. You just killed 3 members. They're not that high level enough to the point that their respawn timers are going to just allow you to all willy-nilly walk into their jungle and take whatever you please.
Right, and just WorstTurttle was making that mistake even beforehand on the right side of the map, so the Papis have cultivated themselves a nice 1,500-ish gold lead.
I think that's where Optimus Gang know the weaknesses from the Papis is that jungler. And not necessarily the quality of the player, but how he starts off the game with the blink. Game number 1 on the Alquang, which is why that invade was so successful. No beats from him. And Warchi, no beats either for about a couple of seconds. Now being available is going to fall.
That jump there from GetFisher put himself in a good position. Now put himself in a bad position. Fusify saves his life. Here's the jump from WorstTurtle. Where's the peel? Fusify has cooldowns, but big boy stun from Julio. Meanwhile, left side, Kespainify barely escaping Chang'e.
Oof.
This time he'll be safe.
WorstTurtle finding the kill onto FaraKrik. Not done yet. In a 3-on-2 in the mid lane. A Sibi is going to be the turtle knocking everybody back and forth. Heals are about to come out from Julio. This is a good fight for Papis.
Sibi doesn't have an ultimate either, so no taunt coming out. But it was good for the Papis until Kespainify showed up. 1 goes down, 2 goes down. Sibi puts good luck number 7 on the board. And Optimus Gang bite back. Chang'e will get a tier 1 tower, but I think OG are yawning at that. The 2 kills in the mid lane, a much bigger deal.
You got to respect the Jing passive, and that 3-on-2 quickly became a 3-on-3. Sibi having a lot of anti-healing between the Pestilence and the Curse Donk. Not upgraded quite yet, but it's only going to get scarier once that is completed to amplify some of the damage received from those affected members. And great peels from Fusify, just slowing members as well with a horrific emblem. There wasn't much that Papis could do in that scenario.
Much tighter game than game number 1. First time around at about this time, the Papis were up by, the Optimus Gang was up by a slew of gold. Right now we're tied, 7-7 like we're drinking. And the Papis just trying to maintain control. Chang'e, Kespainify, back and forth. Aegis is good. Kespainify falls. Chang'e comes out on top just like the last time. He can do it from afar, and he can do it up close and personal. 2-0-2 for the Spanish Hunter.
Kespainify had to use the Aegis in the previous engagement to survive the ultimate from Chang'e, as this time WorstTurtle forced to just walk away from the trouble puddle. Not going to have to beat away from that one. And that was an epic Hunter versus Hunter battle. If Kespainify timed his basic attack like a quarter second earlier to get the Aegis timing down, I think he wins that.
Yeah, that was just really smart timing from Chang'e, understanding the relic situation.
It's like a Wild Wild West, like a gun draw battle.
That's exactly what it was. You remember that movie?
No, not really.
I have the giant spider.
All right, we need to get Joe Bro to like meme that little 1v1 battle and have like some Wild Wild West music playing.
We're going straight to the Wild Wild West.
It's like down, down, down.
Dracomarino coming through like a tumbleweed. Sibi gonna be grabbed up. The objective. Oh, it's anybody's objective. The Pyromancer leashed. The Pyromancer picked. The Pyromancer leashed. The Pyromancer killed. The Papis on the good side of the objective, now trying to escape. But Optimus Gang not okay with that.
Not on the mark. Aegis was not even available for FaraKrik for another 5 seconds. I believe that Julio secured that objective with a waxing moon. Just too much waffling, turning everybody into French toast.
And here comes the rest of the pancake. Chang'e trying to squash down Sibi. Not going to happen. But the long-range shot from the Agni also not going to happen. GetFisher up close and personal. He's jumping to the back line. WorstTurttle could be good, but Chang'e squashes them down and scrambles them up. It's breakfast time for the Papis. 4-on-5. The Papis look like they're going for the fire giant.
Fusify could have just stopped that back with a basic attack if he really wanted to. Warchi not going to allow that teleport to go through. Fire giant would be a frisky call, even in a 5-on-4. As GetFisher's reviving in 20 seconds. Dracomarino doesn't have that much health to play with, and he's not super tanky, only sitting on 3 items, only having Void Stone and Sovereignty. I don't know if that call would have been accurate.
Yeah, no, I definitely thought Draco was a little bit tankier. Didn't realize he was rocking the Void Stone at this point. So, I'd have to agree with the shying away from the big objective. The Papis right now with a 3,000 gold lead, just a little shy of it. All right, Doug, a little high, 3,400. You know, we established math isn't my thing. Came through. Except, totally ask me what 3 plus 3 is.
What's 3 plus 3, Tom?
6.
Oof. That's some quick maps for you right there.
Totally ask me what 10 plus 5 is.
What's 10 plus 5, Tom?
15.
Whoa. You sure about that one?
Yeah.
Oh.
I had to count, but.
Because that's more than how many fingers I have on my hands. So I wouldn't be able to do that.
You got toes, Tolly?
That's true. I do have toes. But then I have to take off my shoes and my socks to count them.
I cast with no shoes or socks.
That's the life.
I mean, most of the time, I'm wearing shorts. The camera only gets us from the waist up.
That's true.
So right now, I'm wearing gym shorts.
Man, if you guys can only see the imagery.
Tolly shows up in his galaxy pants. I'm wearing gym shorts, no shoes or socks.
Why you got to blow up our spot like that, though? We got to keep the illusion going.
Well, Taco shows up in, like, Gucci sweats.
She's always chilling.
Gold Fury started up here by the Papis. They want some extra money. Sibi and Fisher with the flank. Chang'e in trouble. Aegis is really strong, though. And that's one of the downsides of what Baka's going to try and do. Gold Fury stuck. And the Papis are able to take it despite fantastic positioning from Optimus Gang. They've got to fight into this one, Tolly.
They're trying to retreat because they want to get the healing off. Dracomarino gets knocked up and taken out.
Chang'e bites back. Fisher goes down. Here comes Kespainify, just shooting. Just shooting. Not finding anybody to take down.
Sibi was thinking about engaging there. Warchi's going to find the stun and a little bit of poke onto Fusify with 1 pick onto Dracomarino. Papis still secure that objective. Very important for them to still build off of this lead if they want to extend this series.
I didn't think so.
Oh, that's the Hindu man skin.
Which is the Hindu man skin?
The Sibi.
Oh, that is the Hindu man skin.
Did you see the flag at his turtle shell? That was cute.
Yeah, it's I really wanted Hindu to buy a Mini Cooper when he came over here. Like, with the flag on top. I really, really did. And he was like, no. Sibi right now trying to say no. And Julio saying yes all the way to next Tuesday. The Papis put number 11 up on the board. Optimus Gang trailing by now 4,000.
Ooh, FaraKrik in a little bit of trouble as well. He's going to be in a lot of trouble using that to separate, trying to get away. But the blink from WorstTurttle is going to secure that one.
And a nice play there from the Papis. Wow, what a turnaround here, Anatoly. This one has really been about the Papis slowly getting smaller and smaller objectives. Until now, they've got a large lead. I know I asked you earlier what the biggest difference was, and that was kind of a, help, we're in a pause, and I don't have anything to say moment.
Sure.
But now, realistically, what's the larger difference here between Game 1 and Game 2?
I think, honestly, it's the fact that Julio is playing this Chang'e, so these team fights is just lasting a little bit too long for Optimus Gang to get killed, right? Like, there was a little bit of shenanigans in the solo lane to start things off as Julio and WorstTurttle getting punished for their transgressions. But team fight-wise, I think the composition outright is just superior from Papis. You got crazy good control from Warchi. Julio, like everyone from Papis minus Chang'e has great control aspects, and that's what's allowing them to win these fights.
WorstTurttle has had a poor game, but GetFisher across the way just as poor. He's doing less damage than his support, and sure, I think Fisher could play better, but I'm not tossing the blame on him. I'm giving credit to the Papis here fantastic use of relics, fantastic control. GetFisher jumps to the back line and finds Chang'e. And then Chang'e aegises at the correct time, and the rest of the Papis help their carries and take care of Fisher and make sure he doesn't have an impact.
Man, they really wanted to boil that lobster alive, but it's a scary day when a turtle is trying to boil a lobster, but that's kind of what Dracomarino was trying to do there.
Exactly, I'm with you, because a lobster is like a grown-up scorpion, and a turtle is a baby tortoise. So it's like a baby going against
24 and a half minutes in, Papis are up 9,000 gold with Fire Giant around their waist for another 2.5 minutes in. Thank you, Doug.
Pyromancer's like a baby fire giant. Remember when it was the little fire elemental guy? The portal demon, he was like a little fire guy. So I used to call him Fire Giant Jr.
Yeah.
I still do call Pyro.
You got to look up to the superiors, and that's what Fire Giant is.
Yeah.
In this battleground of the gods.
That's the Fire Daddy, Totally.
Yep.
Say it right. Fire Daddy.
That's for you to say.
Say Fire Daddy, Totally.
I'll let you keep saying it.
I heard you saying it never mind. I heard you saying
it's got to be in the moment.
Yeah, just in the moment.
Just got to be like, it's got to be that kind of a day.
The Papis looking for their moment in the middle lane. GetFisher again with the flank, but again controlled, contained, and he'll just look a little bit stunted.
Oof, that damage from Warchi. That was only one bomb as well. As much damage as FaraKrik was able to do in the last game as Zeus, Warchi's able to do in this one with the Agni.
And again, Fisher, that's not even his bad. The Papis are just controlling him so well. WorstTurttle around the backside looking for a flank of his own. Tier 2 tower defended for now. One shot will do it. Chang'e takes it down. Fusify stunned. WorstTurttle over the wall. There's the ultimate on top of the support. Chang'e from a distance with the long-range support. And the ultimate from Fusify will save himself.
GetFisher jumps back in, but not hitting the bumper.
Long range.
Moon. Julio gets that one. The rest of Papis are interested in the chase.
Optimus Gang now on the defensive side. Chang'e takes down Fusify. 5 kills without a death, and the Papis surging forward in the middle lane. Optimus Gang 3 players strong. They can't play defense. Kespainify is godified, and Warchi gets the kill. Number 15 for the Papis.
We could be seeing a game 3. Tom, Papis are 5 members strong. Up against 2. It's Sibi and FaraKrik playing defense, and Julio has plenty of sustain to keep this going.
Half HP on the Titan. The Papis coming through. Optimus Gang are on the bottom, and the Papis take us to a game 3.
Impressive performance from all of Papis. Got to give credit to where credit is due. The team fighting aspect between these double mages, Julio and Warchi, making it happen. The strategies of Optimus Gang weren't as clear compared to game number 1, where they had that early game momentum with the invade, but they couldn't repeat it in game number 2.
Big difference here, I think, is how the Papis controlled the enemy jungler. GetFisher just could not repeat his performance in game number 1 to game number 2. Sure, they didn't have that given lead thanks to the invade, but they also just didn't have that pressure very easily controlled, I think, was the Bakasura.
And even with WorstTurttle, making some questionable overextensions, with Optimus Gang really punished, I think that they couldn't turn those little advantages to any objectives on the tower side.
Yeah, WorstTurttle kind of had a poor performance this time, and across the way it was matched by GetFisher. The team was able to win despite WorstTurtle's poor performance. In game number 3, they needed their turtle to turn into a tortoise. Back to you guys on the desk.
Thanks, Tom. Thanks, Aggro here one more time as we move into game number 2.
It's getting to the point where I'm worried that Tom doesn't understand there's like a separation between Pokemon and like the real world. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that what's really happening is that Tom thinks he's funny.
Oh.
And that is the saddest part of it.
That is, yeah, that's sad. That is unfortunate.
Game 2, though, does come out the way of the Papis on this one. And you heard a lot of who they were highlighting there. They talked some about Warchi. WorstTurttle had some struggles. GetFisher on the Bakasura on the side of Optimus Gang had some struggles, too. But for me, I really thought Julio's impact in this game was huge on this Chang'e.
Yep, Julio was great on the Chang'e, and Chang'e on the Ram as well was absolutely critical. His long-range accuracy with those snipes, finishing off a lot of kills that translated into objectives. It felt like every team fight for the Papis ended in a tower going down or a pyromancer, or something that actually advanced their lead a little bit more than just getting the kills. I mean, Julio healing 14,000 damage. Just imagine if Kespainify's player damage said 0. Plus some on the other side because Julio was doing that much healing and still contributing just as much damage as Sibi or FaraKrik or Kespainify.
And glad to hear y'all were paying attention out there in Mixer chat, as Julio is the one you select as your MVP. I think y'all got that one absolutely correct. And you talk all the time, Ryan, I think correctly so, about how important mage cooldowns are. And Chang'e has one of the most important in Waxing Moon. I wish we had a way to track how often you win based on how often you're hitting multiple people with Waxing Moon. You win team fights when you hit 2 or 3 people with them every time, and Julio was doing that perfectly. We saw him secure Pyromanters with it. We saw him setting up team fights with it or peeling for his teammates. Sometimes used to isolate a single target, yes, but primarily used to hit multiple members for that extra long stun.
Exactly, and it's just the versatility that the ultimate brings that makes it very difficult to play against. It's right there where you're using it to finish off a low health target and to get beads from another carry that's right in front. It's peeling for your team while also having the potential to initiate for your team. And even with the cursed Onk on the side of Optimus Gang, that isn't enough anti-heal to bring down this Chang'e consistently in the early parts of the fight before that Waxing Moon gets a lot of value. So I really like this Chang'e pick, and I'm wondering if Papis are going to go back to it, or if we're going to see a little bit of Odin potentially, like we saw in Game 1, from Optimus Gang to try and shut it down early.